The silent observer, the children's excited chatter filled the art tent as Lena guided them through the community mural project. She watched Arjun carefully, adding green scales to his dinosaur rocket ship, his tongue poking out in concentration. "Your dinosaur is magnificent," Lena said, crouching beside him. "I love how you've given him a control panel inside the rocket." Arjun beamed. "He's a scientist dinosaur. Papa says imagination mixed with science creates the best inventions." Beside him, Annika meticulously painted a series of stars and planets. "I'm making the galaxy he'll explore," she explained, adjusting her glasses with paint-smudged fingers. Vikram stood back, watching his children with quiet pride. Unlike most parents who hovered anxiously or spent the time networking, he gave his children space to create independently. "They have wonderful imaginations," Lena remarked, moving to stand beside him. "Their mother was the same way," Vikram replied softly. "She was an astrophysicist, with the soul of a poet." Lena noticed the gentle sorrow in his voice. "That's a beautiful combination to inherit." "Miss Capper," Prisha's voice cut through their conversation as she approached, her assistant trailing behind her. "I wanted to discuss the fashion show segment. The children will need to showcase my junior collection properly." Lena straightened. "Mrs. Malhotra, we agreed that children would wear comfortable clothing of their choice for the talent show, not modeling outfits." Prisha waved dismissively. "Principal Sharma already approved my suggestion. As the main sponsor, it's only appropriate that my brand receives proper exposure." Her eyes flicked to Vikram, giving him a cursory glance before dismissing him entirely. "The parents will appreciate seeing quality clothing, especially those who might need inspiration." Vikram merely raised an eyebrow, but remained silent. "I'll need to confirm this with Principal Sharma," Lena replied firmly. "Excuse me?" As Lena walked away, Prisha turned to Vikram with a practiced smile. "Are you new to Oak Ridge? Don't believe we've met." "I'm Prisha Malhotra, Regional Director for Vogue India." "Vikram," he replied simply, offering no last name or title. "My twins started this term." "How lovely," Prisha said, her gaze drifting back to the children's well-worn clothes. "If you need any advice on school culture, I'd be happy to help. My daughter Zara is in 4th grade. She's over there with Mrs. Patel, the neurosurgeon's wife." She pointed to a girl in an immaculate designer dress, sitting apart from other children to avoid dirtying her outfit. "Thank you, but we're finding our way," Vikram replied politely. "Of course," Prisha's smile tightened. "If you'll excuse me, I see the board chairman has arrived." Throughout the afternoon, Lena observed how Prisha floated from one influential parent to another, name-dropping and air-kissing, while Vikram remained focused on his children. When Arjun accidentally spilled juice on his shirt, Vikram simply helped him clean up, unbothered by the stain. When Annika became overwhelmed by the noise, he found a quiet corner where they sat reading together until she felt better. Later, as families gathered for the principal's address, Lena overheard Prisha speaking to another parent. "The charity gala tomorrow will be exclusively A-list," she said. "I hear the mysterious benefactor who funded the new STEM wing will finally make an appearance." "Any idea who it might be?" asked her companion. "Someone immensely wealthy and powerful?" "Obviously," Prisha replied. "My sources say it's the founder of a major tech company. I've ensured I'm seated at the main table. Networking opportunities like this are priceless." Lena shook her head slightly. She'd been helping Arjun pack his art supplies when he'd asked an unexpected question. "Miss Capper, is it bad that we don't wear fancy clothes like that lady's daughter?" Before Lena could respond, Vikram knelt beside his son. "Remember what we talked about, Beta? Value comes from who you are, not what you wear." "Your papa's right," Lena added. "I care much more about your incredible imagination than your t-shirt." Arjun's face brightened.
Ouch.
"My dinosaur scientist could invent clothes that change colors with your mood." Now that Lena laughed, would be fashion worth talking about. As the event wound down, Lena watched Vikram help both children gather their artwork. Listening intently as they explained each detail, there was something about his patient attention, his genuine interest in their thoughts, that stood in stark contrast to parents like Prisha, who seemed to view their children as accessories. When they left, Arjun turned back to wave enthusiastically at Lena. She waved back. Wondering about this unusual family and the quiet dignity of the father, who seemed so different from the other Oak Ridge. Parents. Little did she know that the next evening's charity gala would reveal much more than just the identity of the school's mysterious benefactor. First impressions? The autumn breeze carried laughter across the sprawling lawn of Oak Ridge International School as parents and children gathered for the annual fall festival. Colorful tents dotted the grounds, each housing different activities for the students and their families. Among the crowd, a man in faded jeans and a simple blue button-down walked hand in hand with two small children. "Papa, can we try the science experiment booth?" asked Annika, her dark eyes sparkling with excitement beneath her glasses. At 6 years old, she was already showing signs of inheriting her father's analytical mind. Of course, Betty Vikram Kapoor smiled down at his daughter, then glanced at her twin brother. "What about you, Arjun? Science experiments or the art station first?" Arjun, wearing his favorite dinosaur t-shirt that had seen better days, pointed eagerly toward the large canvas where children were creating a community mural. "Art, Papa? I want to paint a dinosaur rocket ship." Vikram laughed, the sound warm and genuine. At 38, the lines around his eyes spoke of both joy and sorrow, reminders of losing his wife Anjali to cancer 3 years ago, leaving him to raise their twins alone. Despite being the founder and CEO of Horizon Technologies, a company valued at over $4 billion, Vikram lived modestly and shunned publicity. His wealth was a tool for good, not a badge to display. Across the lawn, Prisha Malhotra's perfectly manicured nails tapped against her champagne flute as her gaze swept critically over the gathering. As the regional director for Vogue India and this year's fashion sponsor for the school event, she considered herself the arbiter of taste. Her designer dress and carefully styled hair made a statement. She belonged in the elite circles. She'd worked so hard to enter. "Divya, look at that family," Prisha whispered to her assistant, nodding toward Vikram and the twins. "Those children? Are students here? With those clothes?" She clicked her tongue. The school's standards must be slipping if they're accepting scholarship cases like that. "That man's jeans are at least 3 seasons old." Divya nodded dutifully, though her eyes reflected discomfort at her boss's remarks. "The fees at this school are astronomical," Prisha continued, her voice carrying just enough to be overheard by those nearby. "I wonder how a single father in such humble circumstances manages it. Perhaps he's someone's driver." As if on cue, Arjun turned, overhearing the last comment. His small face fell, and he tugged at his t-shirt self-consciously. Vikram noticed immediately and knelt beside his son. "What's wrong, Beta?" he asked gently.
Papa?
"That lady said our clothes are bad," Arjun whispered. "She thinks we're poor." Ikram's expression remained calm, though something flickered in his eyes. "Does having money make someone a good person, Arjun?" The boy thought for a moment. "No. You always say it's how we treat others that matters." "Exactly." Vikram smiled, ruffling his son's hair. "Now, let's make that dinosaur rocket ship, shall we?" Nearby, Lena Kapper, the school's new art teacher, had been arranging supplies when she overheard the exchange. Her warm brown eyes followed the father and twins as they approached her station. Unlike many at this prestigious school, Lena judged people by the kindness in their actions, not the labels on their clothes. "Welcome to the community mural," Lena greeted them with a genuine smile. "We're creating a vision of our ideal world. What would you like to contribute?" As Arjun excitedly explained his dinosaur rocket ship concept, Vikram noticed how attentively Lena listened, treating his son's ideas with genuine interest. Her simple cotton kurta was adorned with hand-embroidered patterns, and her curly hair was pulled back in a practical bun, a refreshing contrast to the carefully curated appearances surrounding them. Across the lawn, Prisha watched the interaction with narrowed eyes, completely unaware that the man she had just dismissed would soon turn her carefully constructed world upside down. Revelations, the Grand Meridian. Hotel ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and floral arrangements as Oak Ridge International School's most elite supporters gathered for the annual charity gala. Women in designer gowns and men in bespoke suits mingled over champagne, the air thick with perfume and pretension. Prisha Malhotra made her entrance in a stunning red Sabyasachi creation, judically, late enough to be noticed. Her eyes scanned the room, mentally cataloging the power players present. She had positioned herself perfectly. Her boutique's donation had secured her a seat at the main table, where she would finally meet the school's enigmatic benefactor, Prisha. "Darling," called out Sunita Dewan, wife of a prominent industrialist. "Have you heard? The mysterious donor is none other than Vikram Kapoor of Horizon Technologies." Prisha's eyes widened. Vikram Kapoor, the tech billionaire who revolutionized sustainable energy solutions? She lowered her voice conspiratorially. "I thought he was famously reclusive. No one even knows what he looks like." "Exactly. That's why tonight is such a coup for Principal Sharma. Apparently his children recently enrolled at Oak Ridge, which is why he agreed to appear publicly." Principal Sharma approached the microphone as the guests took their seats. "Distinguished guests, thank you for your generous support of Oak Ridge International. Tonight, we're honored to finally introduce the visionary whose contribution made our new STEM Innovation Center possible, a man whose technology is changing our world while he himself has remained out of the spotlight." Prisha straightened in her chair, mentally rehearsing her networking opener. Next to her, an empty chair awaited the man of the hour. "Please welcome Mr. Vikram Kapoor, founder and CEO of Horizon Technologies." The crowd applauded as a figure approached the stage. Prisha's practiced smile froze as recognition dawned. The man in the impeccably tailored suit was none other than the struggling single father she had mocked just yesterday. Though formally dressed now, his warm eyes and gentle demeanor were unmistakable. "Thank you, Principal Sharma," Vikram began, his voice quiet, yet commanding. "While I appreciate the introduction, I'm just a father who believes in education's power to transform lives." As he spoke about innovation and compassion, Prisha felt her face burning with mortification. She recalled every dismissive comment, every condescending glance she had directed at him and his children. The empty chair beside her, reserved for the guest of honor, suddenly felt like a spotlight on her misjudgment. Across the room, Lena Kapur sat at a side table, invited as a faculty representative. Not like the other guests, she showed no surprise at Vikram's identity. Instead, she listened attentively, occasionally smiling at his humble descriptions of his work. "At Horizon, we believe technology should serve humanity, not the other way around," Vikram continued. "Similarly, wealth should be a tool for positive change, not a measure of human worth. My late wife taught me that. She also taught me that how we treat others when we believe they have nothing to offer us reveals our true character." His gaze swept the room, pausing momentarily on Prisha before moving on. The subtle acknowledgement was enough to make her wither inside. After his speech, Vikram was surrounded by guests eager to speak with him. Prisha watched, paralyzed with indecision. Should she approach him? Pretend their previous interaction never happened? Hide in the ladies' room until she could make a graceful exit? "He doesn't seem very different tonight, does he?" came a soft voice beside her. Prisha turned to find Lena standing there, elegant in a simple silk sari. "You knew?" Prisha asked, aghast. "Not at first," Lena admitted. "But when he volunteered to fund new art supplies after hearing we were short on budget, I looked him up. He asked me not to tell anyone. I made such a fool of myself," Prisha whispered. Perhaps Lena agreed without malice. "But it's what you do next that matters." As the evening progressed, Prisha watched Vikram decline offers from real estate magnates and investment bankers, yet spend 10 minutes discussing sustainable art supplies with Lena. When he finally approached his assigned table, Prisha felt her heart hammering. "Mrs. Malhotra," he acknowledged with a small nod, taking the seat beside her. "Mr. Kapoor, I please, just Vikram is fine." "I owe you an apology," she blurted out. "My behavior yesterday was inexcusable." Vikram regarded her thoughtfully. "My concern isn't for myself, Mrs. Malhotra, but for my children, who are taught to judge themselves and others based on appearances." Before Prisha could respond, Principal Sharma approached to whisk Vikram away to meet a government official. Left alone, Prisha watched as Vikram paused on his way across the room to speak with Lena again. Their conversation easy and genuine amid the artificial glamour surrounding them. For the first time in years, Prisha felt the hollowness of the world she had worked so hard to conquer. Reflections. The week following the gala brought autumn rain that streaked down the windows of Prisha's boutique office. She sat at her desk, barely seeing the fashion layouts spread before her. Since the revelation of Vikram Kapoor's identity, she had cycled through embarrassment, defensiveness, and finally, uncomfortable self-examination. "Divya, cancel my lunch with the Vogue editor," she said suddenly, "and bring me the file on our children's scholarship program." Her assistant looked surprised. The scholarship program had been Prisha's reluctant concession to corporate social responsibility, something she had delegated entirely to her staff while focusing on high-profile clients. Later that afternoon, Prisha found herself driving to Oak Ridge for a parent-teacher meeting she would normally have sent her assistant to attend. As she walked the hallway toward the art room, she heard children's laughter and paused by the doorway. Inside, Lena was conducting an after-school art workshop. Among the children, Arjun and Annika Kapoor worked intently on their projects. Arjun was crafting something with recycled materials while Annika carefully painted what appeared to be a solar system model. "That's beautiful work, Annika," Lena was saying. "The way you've shown the planet's orbits is very scientific." "Papa helped me research the exact distances," Annika replied shyly. "But I chose the colors to show their temperatures." Prisha was about to step away when she noticed her own daughter, Zara, sitting alone in the corner, hesitantly holding a paintbrush. "I can't do it," Zara was saying. "I'll mess it up and ruin my dress." Prisha felt a pang. She had taught her daughter to prioritize appearances above everything else. To her surprise, Arjun approached Zara. "You can use my smock if you want," he offered. "It's already paint-wide, but it works good." Zara looked uncertainly at the well-worn smock. "Won't you need it?" "I'm done with the messy part," Arjun shrugged. "Papa says sharing makes everything better." As Zara cautiously accepted the smock, Prisha stepped back from the doorway, unexpectedly moved by the simple kindness from a child she had dismissed as beneath her daughter's social circle. "They're quite remarkable, aren't they?" "Hey!" Prisha startled at Vikram's voice behind her. He stood in the hallway, casually dressed again in jeans and a simple button-down shirt, looking every bit the ordinary father rather than a tech billionaire. "Mr. Kapoor, Vikram, I didn't expect to see you here," she managed. "Tuesday is my early day," he explained. "I make a point of picking up the twins myself whenever possible." He glanced through the doorway at the children. Your daughter has a good eye for color." Arjun mentioned she helped him choose the right blue for his ocean project. "She does," Prisha acknowledged, suddenly seeing her daughter through new eyes. "Though I focus more on her fashion sense than her artistic abilities." An awkward silence fell between them. "I owe you a proper apology," Prisha finally said. "It's not just for what I said at the festival, but for who I've been. The way I've judged people, taught my daughter to judge people based on what they wear or what they own." Vikram studied her thoughtfully. "May I ask you something, Mrs. Malhotra? Prisha, please?" "Prisha, what were you wearing when you experienced your happiest moment?" The question caught her off guard. She thought back and found herself smiling faintly. "An old cotton sour, camisole. Actually, the day I got my first job in fashion. I'd spent all my money on the bus fare to the interview. I was so excited I ran all the way home in the rain. I suspect no designer gown has brought you quite that same joy since," Vikram observed gently. Before she could respond, the classroom door opened fully as children began to emerge. Lena appeared in the doorway, her expression warming at the sight of Vikram before registering surprise at Prisha's presence. "Ms. Kapur," Prisha said formally. "I was hoping to discuss the possibility of my boutique providing materials for your upcycling project, fabrics that would otherwise be discarded." Lena's eyebrows rose slightly. "That would be ... wonderfully helpful, actually." As the children gathered around, Zara ran to her mother, proudly displaying a painting still wet with vibrant colors. "Look, Mama, I made art without staying clean." Prisha knelt to her daughter's level, not caring that the expensive silk of her dress touched the floor. "It's beautiful, Beta. Ow. Tell me all about it." Over Zara's head, her eyes met Vikram's. He gave her a small nod of acknowledgement, not forgiveness. "Exactly. but recognition of the first step on a long journey toward something better. Later, as they walked toward the parking lot, Prisha noticed Vikram and Lena standing near his modest sedan, engaged in animated conversation as the twins showed her something on a tablet. Their laughter floated across the schoolyard, genuine and unrestrained. For the first time in years, Prisha felt the weight of her designer clothes, the constraint of her carefully constructed image. She looked down at her daughter's paint-stained hands clasped in hers and wondered what else she had been unable to see while focused on appearances. Beyond appearances, 2 months later, Oak Ridge International School's auditorium buzzed with excitement. Parents filled the seats, smartphones ready to capture the culmination of this term's special project, Who We Are Beyond Appearances. Behind the stage curtain, Lena adjusted a display while children scurried about in last-minute preparation. The project had been her idea, inspired by watching the subtle shift in classroom dynamics following the charity gala. What had begun as an art installation had evolved into a school-wide exploration of identity, value, and perception. "Miss Capper, is my poem going to be okay?" Annika asked anxiously, clutching her note cards. Lena smiled reassuringly. "It's beautiful." "Annika, just speak from your heart, like we practiced." Nearby, Arjun was helping Zara Malhotra attach the final elements to their joint science art project. Perception prism that showed different images depending on where the viewer stood. "My mom says our project is the most innovative," Zara announced, though without the haughtiness that would have accompanied such a statement months earlier. "Your mom helped with the cool fabric pieces," Arjun replied generously, "and my papa helped with the light refraction stuff. Teamwork makes the dream work." In the audience, Prisha sat next to her husband Rohan, who had finally taken a break from his demanding surgical schedule to attend a school event. She watched him scroll through emails on his phone and gently placed her hand over his screen. "This is important," she said quietly. Rohan looked surprised, but put his phone away. "Sorry, old habits, I know," Prisha replied. "I'm learning about those myself." The last 2 months had been transformative for Prisha. The uncomfortable self-reflection sparked by her encounter with Vikram had led to gradual but meaningful changes. Her boutique had launched a sustainable fashion initiative, partnering with Lena's art department to teach students about ethical clothing production. More significantly, she had begun reconnecting with her daughter, discovering the thoughtful, creative person beneath the perfectly styled exterior she had cultivated. 3 rows ahead, Vikram sat alone, his attention fully focused on the stage. Since the gala, he had maintained his usual low profile, though he had become more involved in school activities, offering to mentor students interested in sustainable technology and occasionally assisting with Lena's art projects. Principal Sharma stepped onto the stage. "Welcome, parents and friends, to our fall term showcase. Today's presentation, Who We Are Beyond Appearances, challenges us to look deeper than surface impressions. This collaboration between our art, science, and humanities departments was inspired by Ms. Capper and embraced by our entire community." The curtains parted to reveal a stunning array of student projects. At center stage stood a large installation resembling a tree, its branches bearing photographs, artwork, and written reflections. One by one, students presented their contributions. When Annika took the microphone, Vikram leaned forward slightly. "My poem is called Invisible Things," she began softly, then gained confidence as she continued. "The most important parts of people cannot be seen with just your eyes. Kindness lives inside your actions. Courage hides behind your tries. My mother was a star collector, though she left before I grew. Papa says she watches over everything we say and do. The richest things we truly own are memories and dreams and love. The rest is just the outer wrapping of the gifts we're made of." Applause filled the auditorium as Annika returned to her seat, her face flushed with accomplishment.
Ow.
Herself blinking back unexpected tears. When the presentation concluded, parents mingled among the exhibits while children proudly explained their work. Prisha watched as Zara confidently demonstrated her project to Rohan, who was actually listening with genuine interest. "She's quite impressive," came Vikram's voice beside her. Her understanding of how light and perception work together shows real scientific aptitude. Thank you, Prisha replied, then added honestly, though I can take little credit. Her recent growth has more to do with your children's influence and Ms. Capper's guidance. We all influence each other, Vikram said thoughtfully. It's community at its best. They were joined by Lena, whose face was alight with the success of the project. The children have exceeded all my expectations, she said, especially with how they've embraced the deeper message. As they spoke, Prisha noticed the easy warmth between Vikram and Lena, the natural result of 2 months collaborating on school projects. Certainly, but perhaps something more developing as well. The thought brought a surprising sense of satisfaction. Rather than envy, I have a confession, Prisha said suddenly. I've completely redesigned our spring collection. Instead of following trends, we're focusing on timeless pieces, ethically produced. She smiled ruefully. My investors think I've lost my mind, but for the first time in years, I'm creating fashion I actually believe in. Vikram nodded appreciatively. Authenticity has its own currency, Miss Capper. Papa. Arjun called, running toward them with Zara and Annika in tow. Can we show you our surprise project? We made it after school. The children led them to a small display tucked in a corner, a diorama depicting their school with tiny figures of students and teachers, each unique and colorful. We made everyone, Zara explained proudly. Wrote what makes them special on the inside, demonstrated by carefully opening one of the tiny figures to reveal a hidden message inside. This one's you, Mrs. Malhotra. Annika pointed shyly. We wrote that you're brave because you changed your mind about important things. That's harder than being right from the beginning. Priscilla felt something catch in her throat as she knelt to examine the diorama more closely. The children had captured something profound in their simple project. The complex interior lives behind every exterior. And we made a tiny Ms. Capper and Papa standing together, Arjun added with a mischievous grin, because they look at each other like people in movies when they think no one's watching. Both Vikram and Lena blushed furiously as the children giggled. Later, as families gradually departed, Prisha watched Vikram help Lena gather art supplies while the twins collected fallen autumn leaves outside the window. Zara had joined them, her expensive dress forgotten, as she jumped into a pile of golden leaves. She seems happier, Rohan observed, following her gaze. She is, Prisha agreed. We both are. As they walked toward the parking lot, Prisha paused to look back at the school building illuminated against the twilight sky. The lesson she had learned went far beyond recognizing a billionaire dressed in casual clothes. It was about seeing the value in people regardless of what they could offer her, including, perhaps most importantly, herself. You know, she said to Rohan, taking his hand, I think I'd like us to have dinner at home tonight. Just the three of us. No phones, no design or anything. Just us. Rohan looked surprised but squeezed her hand. I'd like that too. In the distance, laughter floated from the playground where Vikram, Lena, and the children were still gathering lev as a tableau of joy, unrelated to wealth, status, or appearance. Just humans connecting in the fading light of an autumn day, seeing each other clearly at last.